With 13 presidential aspirants and counting, the All Progressive Congress, APC, is set for a titanic primary election. In the face of the battle that lies ahead, the APC said it is yet to take a decision on zoning of its presidential tickets for the 2023 elections. The APC National Chairman, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, stated that such decision will be decided by the entire party. I think Senator Abdullahi Adamu, okay, I listened to him yesterday, and it's a sensitive issue. It took time before the PDP, People's Democratic Party, decided to arrive at where they are now. Now, they also have a very short time to look at the back and forth. Their convention is on the 30th. But let's listen to Senator Adamu Abdullahi.
We will come out by the grace of God at the appropriate time with a candidate that the convention of our great party will choose. I do not want to speculate, but my duty as chairman is to listen to our party men, party leaders, stakeholders, to see what is going to be best when the time comes. And I've always found it easier and more noble to get to a bridge before I jump to cross it. We are not yet there. Today, privileged to be the chairman of the party. The party is greater than me. The party has not made a decision, and I cannot preempt what the party decision will be.
Wow.
Yeah, so APC doesn't seem to have much time in its favor, while the main opposition party is almost done with its screening. APC is still selling forms. They've not done their screening, and then they are even after that we'll be talking about the primaries. It's clear that what is at stake.
They have almost the same time.
Yes, they have almost the same time. So it's like a race against time for APC. But I can tell you it's a very intricate game, very interesting game, and that is because the struggle or the move to get a presidential candidate is one that is intense. It's not entirely true that the party hasn't given sufficient signal as to where power would go. You and I already know that there was this swap, that put all the elected officers who were in the south, who were from the south, to the north, and then the north was zoned to the south. So it's clear.
If you remember, that did not affect the PDP from taking.
Oh yes, I'm talking about APC now.
Yes.
So for APC, it's clear that the switch between the north and the south, in terms of those who are, holding levers of power in terms of party administration, are clear. So, because the national chairman is from the north central or towards the northern part of the country, it's this clear signal that we get is that the president is like it's come from the south. Now, in terms of microzoning, that is what is not very clear at the moment. We don't know whether it's going to go to the southwest or the south-south or the southeast and all that. But as
this is not microzoning. For them, the standard practice is north or south.
Yeah, for APC it's north or south. But you and I know that there is a very strong, the sentiment weighs heavily, against, a section of the country. So that has come into play, and that is why I think that there's a lot of time, going into, decision making in terms of who will emerge or what part of the South would produce the presidential candidate of the ruling party, the All Progressive Congress. So it's a very tight situation for them. All right, you and I, just like the party chairman said, don't have a very clear picture as to what will happen, but we know it's going to happen. But one interesting thing that we must admit here is that, recall that not too long ago, the neck of the party said it had ceded power for 90 days to the National Working Committee. So when the APC National Chairman tells us that he's waiting for party chairman and other stakeholders and all that, we know that a lot of power resides in his office at the moment. Yes. And we also know that he's the president's candidate. All right? I mean, we cannot away from that fact. So it's clear to some of us who are, very keen watchers, enormous powers. Those of us who are watching understand that he's likely to be watching the president's body language. And you also want to recall that Mr. President not too long ago did give clear indication that he has somebody he's interested in. And if Abdullahi Adamu is his man, it's clear to me that at some point, Mr. President is likely to be whispering to him who that person will be. So a lot of power resides in the office of the National Chairman of APC. So I don't think it's entirely correct to want to assume that this thing is going to be left to party men and other stakeholders and all that. There's a lot of politics and intrigues playing out, and we must take that into consideration.
Why did you see these people going the route of the People's Democratic Party? Because for the People's Democratic Party, the way they went, that's actually brought about peace and tranquility, calmed different nerves. Nobody is feeling shortchanged. Do you understand? Except openly. They were able
not
to,
openly.
And so, do you see the APC taking the same escape route?
Well, like my friend said, we are reading the body language of these main stakeholders, and there are several assumptions that we can deduce, conclusions. First, because you have the national chairman from the north, it presupposes that the president may likely come from the south, but that is not given. It could also be a ploy, it could also be a plot to delude the people, to create a kind of illusion, whereas there is another game plan different from what is on the ground. That's number one. Then number two, if we look at what we are talking about zoning, it is not in the Constitution, but there are certain norms that are stronger than what is in the Constitution. There are so many things people do that are historic, that are not, if you wake up every day, you eat. It's not in the Constitution you have to eat, but it's custom, it's belief, it's tradition. So when we are talking about rotation, it is driven by trust, by confidence building, by the plural nature of our society, the need to sustain peace and stability, and also given the fragile nature of the country at this moment, and the experiences we have passed through these past 7 years. That's why people are saying that, look, let power shift to other parts of the country. If the APC now wants to take a hardline position to say that, look, we even want to bring somebody from Daura, well, it's not against the Constitution, but does that not run contrary to common sense? That having spent 7 years in power, then you are taking power back to the north again. I think that is the feeling, that is the groundswell of opinion of many people, especially from this part of the country. So for at this level, for them to be saying that we are even yet to accept zoning, it sends a very dangerous signal, to the country, because it means that on that day, we are not actually sure of what is going to happen.
Anybody
can emerge. And if you can also, look at the number of candidates emerging from, it shows that there's a clique somewhere that appears to be determined to set the people against each other in order to pave way for a particular interest to feast on the division and disagreements among the southern candidates.
Because looking at the number of people that
have so many,
indicated that this is from the southwest
alone, unity will be very difficult. And I'm sure that most of these people will not come out without consultation with the powers that be. They will have met the president, they will have met the national chairman, and they will have expected that there will have been, to say, look, there's no need for you to contest, this is where we are going. But we don't have that signal as we are speaking now, so which makes the whole thing very difficult for us to predict.
When you look at, okay, let's say the southeast and the southwest, for example now. For example, the southwest, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is out. It's coming out. The Vice President, Yemi Shobaju, is out. Kayode Fayemi will be launching anytime this Wednesday. Ibuku Namoso will be launching anytime Thursday. Dimeji Bankole is also talking about coming out. Adams Oshiomhole is talking about coming out. And when you see the number of people, even from the southwest region alone, so the way the thing is being schemed, anytime I was looking at the calculation yesterday and I couldn't get the answer to this question. That what's happening?
At the last count, there were 13 candidates who had indicated interest to run for that post in the All Progressive Congress. So it's not just these principal officers that you have talked about.
No, I'm talking about the geopolitical zone, the south.
Okay, the southwest. Okay, the southwest in particular. Yeah, but it just speaks. Yeah, it just speaks to, the interplay of forces, at that regional level.
Some people would think that it's better that everybody come together and support one person.
I can tell you for free that some of those who have indicated interest are probably not in it for the long haul. Some could just, some could just be spoilers. It wouldn't be the first time it's happening. It has happened severally and all that. So, first we must understand.
A spoiler with 100 million.
A lot of money is involved in this game.
Wow.
A lot of money is involved in this game. Let me just digress a bit. There are rumors that the guy who went to court on the part of PDP, the Cosmos Ndukwe guy, was being sponsored by somebody. I mean, who's Cosmos Ndukwe in the calculation of things? So those are the issues. There are some who are in this game, to play the role of spoilers, and they're not going to be doing it for free. Money definitely is going to exchange hands. And we also acknowledge that there are major contenders out there, the likes of Asiwaju, who is big, the VP, who is massive. It's not like the other guys really don't matter, but you and I know that in terms of political weight, they don't seem to measure. So it's clear that some are in the game, to act as pawns, on the political chessboard.
I have from Cambridge Island in the United Kingdom. Is it Balaji? Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. Go ahead. Yes, son of Bimiri and Wale.
I'm coming from Cambridge. Right. The major problem with our political space is that our political elite has hijacked or kidnapped masses. And the major... Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, the major problem we have, Nigeria, we are talking about manifestos. Manifestos is not going to help the issue. I'll tell you why. Majority of the people that vote are the artisans, market women. If you look during the election, artisans, market women who doesn't read manifestos, who doesn't listen to news, who hasn't got money to buy newspapers or listen to the TV like us. Corporate guys, they don't go and vote. These are the problems. So majority of people that determine our political elite are the artisans. And the political people understand that what they need to do is to give them bag of rice and salt and all that. So the problem, the major issue is our corporate elite must come out and vote. And the students must come out and vote. Otherwise, the artisans and the illiterates will continue to take bag of rice and determine who is going to be our leaders. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris from Cambridge Island in the United Kingdom. I think he was talking about our docility because the part I got hint of was that the people that left to vote, Muhammadu Buhari emerged to be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria with 15 million votes. And Atiku Abubakar, the runner of 11 million votes. And when you look at everybody that participated in that exercise compared to our numerical strengths, in Lagos, Babajide Sanwo-Olu emerged with less than 1 million votes. And the runner of Jimmy Agbaje, 200 and something thousand votes. And this is a Lagos with over 7 million registered voters. Right. Something is wrong somewhere.
Absolutely. The issue of voter apathy is real, and that is because people don't think or people don't believe that their votes will count at the end of the day. But that has to change, and that will change if the electoral umpire continues to show capacity, in the area of organizing free, fair, and credible election. I think we're making, steady gains, and that is why, we seem to have a lot more people, indicating interest, to register for the upcoming elections. It's going to be a gradual process. So we have to deal with the issue of, voter apathy, and one way to deal with that, will build confidence in the process. And that is where, INEC comes in. We want to believe that it will live up to, its tag, Independent National Electoral, Commission, and that's what really matters. I believe over time, with sensitization and the right mobilization strategies, that a lot more Nigerians will queue up to vote and choose their leaders in a fair, free, credible environment.
Well, quickly on that party.
Yeah, well, one thing is what you are voting for. One thing is for wanting to vote. Another thing is to know what are you voting for. I think illiteracy has become a deliberate policy to disempower the people and to sustain the system. The people we are talking about are a majority, but they are not conscious enough to determine the kind of quality of candidates that they want to vote for. And I think for the kind of system we have today, many politicians want that kind of system to continue. So once people don't have access to education, they will continue to make the wrong choice.